Hello everybody, welcome to this month's programme from The Shed, our March programme. Tonight we have a short film for you which is a change to the one that we advertised. Today we've got the views of 4 people about what we should do about our declining numbers. It rather follows the Facebook discussion where different people are adding their views, and obviously this is leading up to the annual general meetings at the GA. So we're going to show you the views of 4 people, and then I'll add a comment myself for this month's programme, and we do hope that it increases the level of discussion and also gives people food for thought. So without any more ado, we'll go on to the programme that we've got for you this month. I hope you enjoy it.
I think one of the big challenges we're facing is that so many of our congregations don't have ministerial leadership. And when I say ministerial leadership, I don't necessarily mean fully qualified ministers, but I think many congregations could benefit from ministerial leadership, whether it's a minister or a lay leader, a trained lay leader. I mean, there are some congregations in particular places who are very well run from a lay point of view, but many others, I think, need the input and expertise of ministerial leadership to give them new direction. I think there's also a huge issue about our buildings. I think many congregations feel under an obligation to just carry on in their present building, regardless of the energy and that it saps from the small group that attend, perhaps, rather than looking at what the full range of options and being free to really think outside the box about what we want to do about our buildings. I mean, one thing that I think we should be encouraged is a strong relationship with the organisations that hire our buildings. If we can have sympathetic organisations hiring our buildings, get more mindfulness groups into our churches, all kinds of activities that fit with our ethos, that creates a very positive impression about what our church is about. I'd also like to mention music. I think, while I'm a great lover of traditional music, I think we really could do with having a denominational-wide music strategy of how we want to move forward with music in the denomination. Why can't we have a kind of gig circuit? Why can't we identify performers from different genres of music who could travel around the denomination, giving concerts, giving workshops, introducing new styles of music into our worship? I think that could be very exciting. I think social media could be the starting point of some new networks. I mean, I was involved when Unicoms, the Unitarian Publicity Officers Group, was first founded, and that group continues to meet without the burdens of committees and annual reports and budgets and so forth. But what we don't do is we don't link together congregations who are in the similar circumstances. The situations of city centre churches are common in a lot of cases. The situations of congregations in small towns or rural areas are more common. Congregations with similar situations may have more in common than another congregation which is the nearest congregation in their district. And using social media and other techniques, we could link those congregations together laterally in a way which would generate new way of thinking about the way we can take these different kinds of congregations forward.
I've recently moved to Southend and have become part of the Southend Unitarian Church and dragged you along with with me. And we came into a dying church that has very few members. So looking into how to survive and not be one of the statistics of congregations that fold, we're rethinking how the church actually exists within the community. So instead of thinking about trying to get people in the seats on Sunday services, which may not necessarily have as much of an impact of bringing Unitarian values into the community, we're just outright bringing Unitarian values into the community and using the space that we have to be able to amplify that.
I think religions in general have quite a bad reputation in this day and age, particularly amongst people of our age. When you tell people about Unitarianism, they've A, never heard of it, and B, when I tell them about it, as a new Unitarian, I'm perhaps not verbalising it particularly well, and it comes across as, oh, okay, so I don't need to do anything then. But what drew me into Unitarianism is that it fitted with my yoga practice without me needing to culturally appropriate the rituals and beliefs of Hinduism, even though my framework of understanding of my faith is that, it comes from that. I could drop away all the stuff that I was layering onto my personality and just go, yeah, I was born and raised in Essex, and this is how my yoga practice informs my life, and it just fitted so well with Unitarianism.
Yeah, and I think ultimately what we're looking at is how do we build a community of people. And I think because we don't have a minister, we don't have any professionals doing any of this, our community is not going to look like a typical church model of people sitting in a service. So our community is not counted by the people who attend a service. There are lots of groups that are using our space now that are much more aligned with Unitarian values. So we're slowly trying to make that church space a hub of the values that we have. And with that, hopefully build upon more of our own activities, like having just community art spaces and things like that that we do ourselves. But the idea is that we're really looking at how to build our community outside of a Sunday service and count that as who our members are.
Yeah. There's a youth club being run by a local voluntary services organisation, and when we spoke to them, maybe the kids would like to come in and do a service for us, the reply was like, yeah, the parents are really, they don't want anything to do with anything religious. But sort of opposed to that position, a lot of the decorating, in terms of the things that make our meeting house look nice, have all been done by the youth club, and
they love the space. Yeah, they love being there, and they do feel a part of our community, despite the fact that they don't attend our Sunday services, and we feel they're a part of our community as well. Yeah, and they also attend Hucklow. They are part of the Send a Child to Hucklow program and attend that, so they still remain connected with us. So I guess it's a matter of just looking outside the box of a Sunday service for who our members are.
So we're too focused on the Sunday morning service, and the key to getting more people involved is moving away from that traditional Sunday service. Is that a fair assessment?
I think it's a fair assessment for where we're at because of what resources we have available to us. I mean, I know there are other churches that do fabulous Sunday services, and it's a wonderful way for the church to come together and for the community to come together. But for where we're at, that's not available to us. So we need to look outside the Sunday service for what we can offer.
Are there strategies, directions, or tricks that we're missing on a national level?
I know that for myself personally, my deepest spiritual involvement with UUism back in the US had to do with the Faith in Action department and sort of the way that we applied our values to action outside the bubble of UU community. So I think from my point of view, that's something I think that we have such potential for making actual really positive contributions there is a lot of energy to direct out there to the world. For instance, a lot of the stuff we've been doing with refugees is really a show of our faith in action, and I think supporting more of those types of things would really make a difference.
For me, the main thing, and I've said this online a few times as well, is that I still don't necessarily understand what it is Unitarians in the UK stand for as a denomination. And yes, I think it's beautiful that we can meet as a diverse group of people with any belief and share space together, and it be a constructive, meaningful and spiritual thing. But it's like there's no common ground other than I accept you as you are, and we accept each other.
In the United States, they have their 7 principles, which is a list of things that they stand for. So do you feel that something like that would help focus what we stand for here in the UK?
I do, yeah. But I'm still yet to meet any American that knows those 7 things completely like they're this, and make me go, wow, yeah, you really believe this. And I mean, maybe I just haven't met that many UUs, but as I've said in other areas, that beneath those 7 founding principles there's something deeper that links them all. And for me, I haven't yet gone deeper than sensitivity, honesty, openness, authenticity and acceptance, because without a balance of those things, principles mean nothing. So maybe as Unitarians, if we look at what unites principles and just come up with something very, very simple,
the most fundamental things,
then things can be built upon that, and you can draw your own meaning and draw your own principles, which to me is really the point of Unitarianism.
Thanks very much for asking me. It's a subject that worries us all. Is worry the right word? I think actually we are, in my view, going in a rather strange direction. We seem to be still trying to repeat the failures of the past. We only have to look at a vision for our future and see the warning contribution from Frank Walker, Reverend Frank Walker at Cambridge, that religious attitudes are changing extraordinarily rapidly. So where should we be looking as Unitarians, who like to think, as we have been for the last 2 centuries, at the forward cutting edge of religious belief? And I think we are missing the big trick, and that is that whilst people do not go to church any longer, they prefer, it seems, on a Sundays to go to the shopping mall or whatever. Nevertheless, having said that, 75% of the British population give copiously, compassionately to charity. And the greater part of those charities are religious charities. Why do they do this? Well, it would seem that we are not answering their religious needs. That's the issue. And as far as I'm concerned, being a non-theist, with a belief that my underpinning moral attitude is one of sincere belief in the golden rule, whether you wish to see it as Christian, whether you wish to see it as one of the 5 other main religions, all of which have the golden rule. And that golden rule is social responsibility and action. And if we pursue those obvious people, that enormous audience, something in the nature of certainly 30 million Britons who are so compassionate that they will give so much wealth, time, volunteer effort to charity, that would seem to me to be answering their needs in a way which we, with our history of social service, genuinely can. I'm not suggesting that we grow large. I think the best evidence is that in the 1880s, at the height of our power, we were probably, our biggest numbers, we were probably 80,000 in this country. We're never going to be the 750,000 or 1 million that the United States has. But we do have a market. We have a market we are neglecting. We must change our pattern of religious observance. We must find a new language that speaks to those people, that 30 million that are waiting for us to do that, and waiting for us to make our voice known.
Well, my thanks to those who took part in that film. I realised that the Skype quality wasn't very good, but I thought as the audio was so good and what they were saying was so useful that it was worth included. From my own point of view, my personal thoughts are that each congregation should be looking primarily to get new people of the average age of those that are already there. People tend to go to groups with similar aged people because they have more in common with those. And a lot of talk, there's been a lot of talk about trying to get younger people involved, but younger people want different things, and if you want to offer different things to those, then that's fine. But actually, from a Sunday service point of view, your primary target, the primary people that you should be aiming to try and get there, are the people of the age, is the average age of the people that already go there. It's not to exclude anybody else, but they're the sort of people we want to. And the big question, I believe, is the generation that wants that type of worship fading away, get old and dying, and we're not. Does the newer generation want something different, or is it a question of the newer generation just not knowing that we exist, not knowing what we offer? If that's the question, then it's a question of getting our message out there. But if it's not, it's a question of changing what we do for the younger generation coming through. It's just my view. But I also think we're good at talking, we're good at discussing, we're good at pointing the finger, but what we really are not very good at doing at this moment is doing. In the 10 years that we mentioned where we've lost 1,000 members, if we look at the number of people involved at a national level, the number of volunteers at a national level, it has dropped really significantly. One could go into the reasons of that, but basically if we haven't got people doing things at a national level of jobs which can only be done at that level, then it stands to reason that not a lot will be happening, and we will suffer as a movement because of that. From a personal point of view, I've found that I'm better off making contributions outside the official structures, because that seems to be where I've had more success. But I don't think it matters how we make a contribution, but I think we are absolutely desperate for more people to be involved in just doing something, and it doesn't matter what that contribution is, but the number of contributions actually being made compared with 10 years ago is much less. I'll say no more than that. Next month We have a great programme that we've already filmed from you about human rights issues, and we have a guest from Amnesty International, and we have 2 other Unitarians contributing to that. And it was wonderful and fascinating actually filming that because of of what was being said, and it certainly raised my personal concerns. So I do hope you join us next month for that programme. Otherwise, thank you for watching and good night.